Impact of COVID-19 in our health and economic growth. On March 11, 2020, the World Health Organization, or WHO, characterized COVID-19 as a pandemic, pointing to over 3 million cases and 207,973 deaths in 213 countries and territories. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to a dramatic loss of human life worldwide and presents an unprecedented challenge to public health, food systems, and the world of work. The economic and social disruption caused by the pandemic is devastating. Tens of millions of people are at risk of falling into extreme poverty. Millions of enterprises face an existential threat. The majority lack social protection and access to quality health care and have lost access to productive assets. Many are unable to feed themselves and their families. For most, no income means no food, or at best, less food and less nutritious food. The pandemic has decimated jobs and placed millions of livelihoods at risk. As the breadwinners lose jobs, fall ill, and die, the food security and nutrition of millions of women and men are under threat. With those in low income countries, particularly the most marginalized populations, which include small scale farmers and indigenous peoples, being hardest hit. Countries dealing with existing humanitarian crises or emergencies are particularly exposed to the effects of COVID-19. Responding swiftly to the pandemic while ensuring that humanitarian recovery assistance reaches those most in need is critical. COVID-19 is not only a global pandemic and public health crisis, it has also severely affected the global economy and financial markets. Significant reductions in income, a rise in unemployment, and disruptions in the transportation, service, and manufacturing industries are among the consequences of the disease mitigation measures that have been implemented in many countries. As disease outbreaks are not likely to disappear in the near future, proactive international actions are required to not only save lives but also protect economic prosperity. The infection has not only become a public health crisis but has also affected the global economy. Significant economic impact has already occurred across the globe due to reduced productivity, loss of life, business closures, trade disruption, and decimation of the tourism industry. COVID-19 may be that a wake-up call for global leaders to intensify cooperation on epidemic preparedness and provide the necessary financing for international collective action. There has been ample information on the expected economic and health costs of infectious disease outbreaks, but the world has failed to adequately invest in preventive and preparedness measures to mitigate the risk of large epidemics. Global coordination and cooperation of the measures needs to slow the spread of the pandemic and of the economic actions needed to alleviate the economic damage, including international support provide the greatest chance of achieving public health goals and enabling a robust global recovery. Assessing the impacts of the COVID-19 crisis on societies, economies, and vulnerable groups is fundamental to inform and tailor the responses of governments and partners to recover from the crisis and ensure that no one is left behind in this effort. Without urgent and immediate responses, global suffering will escalate, jeopardizing lives and livelihoods for years to come. Immediate development responses in this crisis must be undertaken with an eye to the future.